Good afternoon. Today is the 17th of January and it's time for yet another very vague, not particularly interesting and probably quite boring vlog. Just been to the Baron's Classic Car Auction house again to do a little preview of the January auction collection, which has been good. It's becoming a sort of regular thing that we're doing now. But today's topic is sort of related to this, and I'm driving a Volvo today, which actually originally came from here back in October, so that makes sense. It's why on earth do I actually have two cars which frequently break and cost me a lot of money and are very old, and how can I justify this in a world of rising prices and inflation, and also thinking about the environmental consequences of this choice? Why on earth have I done this, and should I just get rid of both of them and be done with it? I think one of the first things to say about that is that a lot of you know that it took an awfully long time for me to actually decide to get an additional car other than the Rover. The process actually took me 2.5 years. I'm not the sort of person who's like Mr. Richardson or Mr. Martin Charles from Grand Theft Auto, or even Ian Seabrook. I'm very, very much considered person, and particularly because of my job and what I do, sourcing cars for private clients on a professional basis. I don't really take this sort of thing very lightly. It takes me a very long time to kind of actually decide to get things, and I do have to think about other considerations as well. How much money is it going to cost to run these things, if my lady wife's actually going to be happy with what I'm doing, because it's very, very important to keep your lady wife happy. Otherwise there are quite dire consequences for not doing so, and it's not very fair for me to just sort of keep spending money on whatever I want, which is going to put us in a perilous financial situation, not enable her to do what she wants. So this has been a consideration all the way sort of through, and overall the Rover, despite the fact that at the time of recording this, I'm going up this weekend to collect it because it was a bit naughty back in November, and something went wrong with it, and it's now been fixed, and I've got to go and pay the bill and pick that car up later in the week, which is what I'm going to do. But we were using the Rover actually on a daily basis since June 2020 when we bought it. It was just a car that we kind of had. I mean, my lady wife's been driving around in the Sanyong mainly going to work, and I've been driving the Rover and switching it in parallel with my mother's Mercedes, which obviously she owned. I don't own that. So with that point of view, just having something that wasn't sort of too bad. But it's actually been a real bonus to have this car, even if it needs fixing now. It has got oil leaks, and there are things long term that probably need doing to it as well, because the Rover's obviously failed spectacularly back in November, and I've actually not been able to drive it since. It's now 17th of January. It failed on the 1st of November. It's been over 2.5 months. It's a long old time. So it's actually been very beneficial to have this option to go around, and I've taken it to various sort of meetings and small shows in this area, and also the Volvo Owners Club Portsmouth section branch, and it's brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. Mr. Bill from Fuel Power Channels had a go in it. Mr. Richardson from Furious Driving's had a go in it. Alex had a go in it. Mr. Hunter from Jeff Buys Cars had a go in it, and it's already brought a kind of a lot of joy to a lot of people. Most of all me, because I get to drive it all the time. I must remember to increase my my level of insurance cover on this from 3,000 miles up to maybe sort of 5 or 6 actually. I must remember to do that at some point. I'm okay at the moment, but I must remember to do that. So, you know, from that point of view, actually, it's been very valuable. Maybe I could strap on this Mercedes everywhere. I could do that, but I like to know that some of the time it's just sitting on her drive where she can see it because it's hers, and you know, where she doesn't drive it anymore. It is very useful for getting to appointments and things with her. But to be honest, Rover and the Volvo do an admirable job with it too, and she doesn't tend to go very far anyway. So you know, the horrific fuel consumption of this, and the Rover's a little bit better than this, but it's not that much better. It's kind of offset by the fact that actually we do kind of use them for that basis as well. So although it seems a bit complicated, a bit unnecessary, the cars do bring me a lot of joy, and you know, some of you have said that they bring you joy too, and that's great. That's another reason. It's not the case really that, you know, the cars have made loads of money on YouTube. Sometimes people buy cars so just because they want to put them on YouTube and sort of make money. Now we're not really at the stage on the channel of actually being one where we can do that. I've never really ever made enough money back in a month to cover the cost of filming any of the videos that I've done. That's not really ever happened, and you know, so I have to think very rationally about whether or not we do anything, because we can't buy these cars just because, you know, the hope is that we might make some money at some point, you know, with some of the videos we do on them. I can't do that. That's not possible. So you think, well, that's really a bit of a waste. You know, why are you even sort of bothering? You know, at all? Why are you bothering? Particularly as they sort of both let you down, and given the unexpected bill, particularly with Rover, which the unexpected bill was very high. Well, sometimes these things aren't rational. Sometimes you just have to kind of put up with this sort of thing and believe that actually you will sometimes get unexpected bills from driving around 20 to 25-year-old luxury cars, which both of them are. And actually, if you think about bills from something like a Jaguar or something like that, they're actually not as high. I know that sounds really, really silly, but that's sort of the case. And very gradually, because of the fact that we've not been dependent on neither of these cars, we've been able to sort of keep going with our daily lives and actually quite carefully plan about when the cars go in to have the work done, particularly in the case of the Volvo. That, you know, it's been almost 2 months since I discovered this horrendous oil leak, and actually that will be addressed. It's actually not costing much money at the moment. It's not as bad as we thought, and so we can sort of plan it a bit. And when this car goes away, Mr. Cole will be doing the work for me, which is very nice of him. And I don't know how much it's going to cost. It shouldn't be too much. And then we'll have a choice of what we take out, which will be really great. One of the plans at the moment is to actually get a house with a garage by the end of the year, and then we'll probably just put the Rover in there, and you know, not use it very much. But for the time being, we will use it a bit more. But the thing is that it has a mileage allowance on the insurance that's not really being used, and because I can't really put the mileage allowance down without actually incurring costs. It's going to be an administration fee if I actually reduce the mileage on the insurance. I'm doing 70. How fast are you going? How fast are you going? So from that point of view, might as well use it a bit. You know, not use this one so much. It's a lot to never mind when people do going to shows and whatever. So they're not really costing much in depreciation, and I know a lot of you are very keen on that particular subject about driving old cars aren't depreciating, and sucking up the extra cost of the fuel, because you don't need to sort of have another car made. You just run around in an old one. That's fine, you can. It's just I found that you want something to always kind of work and be reliable. You can't rely upon stuff like this, even if you maintain them really well, because they're old and cheap and they weren't designed to be run on an absolute shoestring anyway when they were new. So can be a bit of a false economy in that way. But if you think about, you know, the fact that you get enjoyment and people like to see them around and people enjoy the videos, if they aren't the most lucrative videos, then that really kind of makes a lot of it worthwhile at the time. Obviously I have to take into consideration other things, which is this, you know, what Lady Wife wants to do, to both if I want to just buy more cars. But I'm very happy with what we have at the moment. I'm very happy with Volvo. I'm sure I'll be very happy with Rover once I get it back. And you know, the other two cars in Mercedes, understanding we've got no plans to change those either. We will just continue to do things the way we've done them, and I think that'll be it. There's no reason to change anything for the time being. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. This has been a particularly vague vlog. It took me a while to get at that junction, at which point I was probably rambling, but you know, you can always turn it off if that happens. That's up to you. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like it's in the comment below. If you are a channel member on the Rover 45 V6 and set Toledo tiers, then you will see this video almost the day or day after it's been recorded. The rest of you will have to wait a few weeks after, which time you've probably seen videos about collecting the Rover and how it is, and ownership report for it. So I'm sure those will be fascinating for you as well. But thank you ever so much indeed once again. Lloyd Young Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below.